Today we're at the Gila Cliff Dwellings National Monument here in the middle of the Gila Wilderness, which is America's oldest wilderness area. Let's go see the dwellings. We're at the visitor center for Gila Cliff Dwellings. A sign coming in said congested area. I guess they mean that other car that's here, because there's only two cars here and one of them's mine. We got the place to ourselves. Here at Gila Cliff Dwellings, they've got a really nice collection of artifacts and various tools and things that really tell the story quite well. Really worth coming in here and having a look around. We're starting the trail up to the dwellings here. You cross a bridge, pedestrian bridge over the Gila River here at the mouth of the canyon. And just beautiful up here. And then of course, looking upstream, up into the Gila Wilderness. So I'm excited to get up into this canyon and see what's here. Started into the canyon and it's really cool in here. Nice riparian little habitat. Pretty good trail. Ranger said it's about a mile round trip, about 180 feet of elevation gain, so get a little bit of a thigh workout. Not quite as bad as the hike up to Tonto, and this one actually has a little creek. I'm on a little bridge running down here through the canyon. Wow, beautiful spot. Great day for a hike. This trail going up the canyon is just really sylvan and nice. You get the little water noise, you've got high cliffs, it's fall. Just wonderful little stroll back up in here. As you get down here, you start to get where you can really start to see these ruins back in the canyon. Wonderful sight. Now we're starting to climb. Got a little stairs affixed into the rock. And also remember, we're close to 7,000 feet of elevation. The air is a little thin, thinner than you might be used to. But it's real clean air. So take in big lungfuls. Enjoy. Oh, wow. We're close. There's the canyon we just came up. Now we're kind of on the level with the little caves. As you scramble around all this, you gotta remember covering all this stuff barefoot. Yeah, they had some yucca sandals and whatnot. That shit wouldn't last long on all this rock and gravel. They're barefoot. Feet were probably tougher than my boots. First little place here, and Park Service does have some little areas marked off where things were excavated. And it is pretty safe up here. You're not going to fall off or anything. And there are handrails for the real narrow and steeper parts. But if you do fall off, there's some good cactus down there to break your fall. There's. Wow. Classic T-shaped door. And so you have you wall the whole front of that cave off, and you really have a nice cozy spot. You can see all the soot up on the ceiling from just hundreds of years of fires as well. Now there may have been more structure further out that has since collapsed, but you can see with the beams sticking out there, this was a multi-structure, at least 2 stories interior, probably storage on the first floor. And as we get into these deeper caves, again, really great place to live. You had a great view up and down your canyon. All kinds of wildlife would funnel up and down this waterway. And again, with the little holes up there where the wood beams, the vigas would poke through. Probably had another story above this. This was probably originally maybe all closed off, and which would make for a really nice cozy spot. Very deep in here. Much bigger space than you'd think it's going to be. Which means you could have quite a few rooms in here. And again, notice all the soot deposits on the ceiling from all the fires. And of course, if you had the front of this sealed up, this could just be a big open space that only required one, big fire to keep a whole bunch of people warm. So you have a fireplace in the middle of it, and you keep a whole bunch of people warm with limited firewood. And it's kind of cool because this little site connects up with a whole nother little room over here beside it. And again, they're showing that there were murals painted on these plastered interior walls. And you'll note the construction of this is much different than we saw at Casa Grande or Tonto. This is more like an Anasazi Wapatki type structure that's more stacked stone and then plastered. So you see, although these sites are fairly close, you see differences in the building technologies they used. It's kind of cool to note. This stuff is just preserved so well. You get these little pieces of wood. Could be original. No reason they wouldn't last. They don't get any weather in here. again, here in this profile, you can see the layers of flat stack stone with the adobe mortar applied in between, whereas the Tonto was just rocks used as filler and the mud daubed on, and Casa Grande was strictly an adobe structure with basically rammed earth adobe walls with a caliche timber. This is very reminiscent of Anasazi construction right here. Coarse stone and adobe. It's really cool. And you can just imagine this being a really busy place back in the day with all these passageways back in here, kids running around. Park Service has little ladders up here. Again, another with an entry back there. Another little round room in here. Of course, probably a lot of this was storage and materials processing and storage, food processing and storage. For the most part, you were out here probably enjoying the sunshine out in the canyon, or not wanting to be probably hemmed up in these dank caves unless the weather was bad, and then you were thankful for them. Another little room and passageway back in the back here. It's just amazing how these things kind of organically evolved around the stuff that was here. A lot of this spalled material, so they just walled up to it and around it, which creates all these passageways and makes it like a little city. It's very, very cool. And again, you can see the holes were probably stacked all the way up. A lot of times you can see little pits where vigas were placed in, and then a whole nother room over in this last cave. So quite the little village up here in the cliffs. Park Service has another little ladder to get up here and look in. Oh yeah. Corn cobs littering the floor. You can see holes where the, again, vigas, and so you probably had this was a little storage chamber here with a floor and another one on top. Multi-level in here, so you could store a lot. They didn't need a lot. Would have taken quite a bit of food to keep all these people fed. This is just really, really cool. Now, to get out, we have to go down this rickety Park Service ladder. I'm sure it's safe. See you at the bottom. Ugh. Some of the rungs have kind of a creepy give to them, but we made it. Another little room down below where the little tower was, and just so cool to have this village here. I can't imagine what this was like when it was just active and things were going on. And then looking up above us, there's that last cave, the fifth cave that we couldn't get to, but we looked in. And so they were well situated up here, very defensive, well protected. I don't know if defense is the reason for being in these places, or the climate was changing and they were looking for more protection. But it's interesting that a lot of these cultures out here in the Southwest moved from more exposed living conditions to these very defensive cliff dwellings late in the Pueblo period.
There's a good reason few people were visiting the Gila cliff dwellings. It's not on the beaten path. The monument lies 44 miles north of Silver City on New Mexico State Highway 15. You're looking at New Mexico State Highway 15. There are no markings for the first 25 miles and plenty of curves. Allow 2 hours each way for the drive. Check the park website for opening and closing times. You don't want to get there late. There are 2 campgrounds in the park, as well as multiple campgrounds and RV parks a couple of miles south of the park in Gila Hot Springs. And yes, there are delicious hot springs to soak in. Please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. It helps me out and is greatly appreciated. Also, leave a comment, if only to say hi. It lets me know that there are some real people out there. Thanks for watching.